in San Francisco, Chinatown. All the mainline denominations represented there because in the latter part of the 19th century, all the major denominations came to establish mission in San Francisco, Chinatown. It was the largest concentration of Chinese people in the Western Hemisphere. So the Presbyterians were there, the Congregationalists were there, the Episcopalians were there, the Methodists were there, and the Baptists were there. Now, I lived in an alley called Brooklyn Place, all right? And the Baptist church is just across the street. So when we were growing up, my mother was very concerned about crossing the street. All right, so if I wanted to go to the Presbyterian church, I had to cross 2 streets. If I wanted to go to Congregational church, I had to cross 3 streets, and if I went to the Methodist church, I had to cross 4 streets. So I went to the Baptist church because it was the closest. So I like to say in the public place that I'm a Baptist for geographical, not theological. So I actually came from a really good Chinese family. I was invited when I was in nursery school to come to the nursery school by some missionaries that were living in the same apartment building that we were at. And so I started actually maybe about 1933 or 34 being connected with the church. So the church was organized in 1880, and it's what is it now? How many years is it now? Yeah, but actually, I've been connected with the church from the time I was in nursery school for over 80 years, actually, right? 80 years. So I grew up in a really good Chinese family. We believed in things like working hard, being honest, postponing gratification, respecting elders, right? So I grew up in actually a very good Chinese home. I have no complaints about the Chinese side and all the good things that came with that. But there would definitely be some things I would never have known, never have known, just by staying home. I learned from church, for example, that we're not actually searching for God. I mean, God is searching for us. I learned that the greatest among us must be the servant of all. I can't imagine how I could have figured that out by myself. And for me, the gospel message was something entirely different. And I saw people in the church, I said to myself, when I grow up, I'd like to be like these people. So when I was about 16 in 1944, I opened my heart to Jesus, and I accepted Jesus into my life, and I was baptized in 1944. So I like Samuel Shoemaker's definition of a Christian. He says a Christian is a person who gives as much of himself as he can to as much of Christ as he knows. Right? I like that. I'm 16 years old. I can give 16-year-old worth of myself to a 16-year-old understanding of Jesus. Everybody begins somewhere, and that's where I began. Now, I used to think that you couldn't make a decision like that when you're 9 years old. But then, I'm doing these ordination papers with the African Americans students, and many of them actually were baptized when they were 8 or 9 years old. So, when when you join a church, there are three things you can expect. First, church gives you a new way to live your life. Second thing is that the church gives you a place to belong. And finally, perhaps even more important, most people don't even think of this, the church gives you a vehicle for service. And when I joined the church, it gave me all those things. The most basic question in life is, what is this for? What is it for? So this guy is exercising in the gym and he says, I need to keep healthy. What for? Okay, so why? So the most important question is, what is life for? And the short answer is, it's for God and it's for the people. That's the short answer. Life is for God and it's for other people. So when I got baptized, I made the decision that God was a large and central place in my life, and that He is the one, because He is Lord, He has rightful authority over my life, and that He is Savior because He can actually transform us, make us different. So, we're in the transformation business, not solely in the information business. So, the church gave me all those things. Now, after I graduated from seminary, while I was in seminary, I was called first as a youth pastor, and then as the English-speaking pastor, and then as the pastor. All right. When I started, I wanted to be all things to all people. Afterwards, I said, I would be really grateful if I could have been some things to some people some of the time. But all of us together, I mean, all people in this room together, we can be many things to many people, many times. So we are not, Christian faith is not about you, it's not about me, it's about us. We need to start every conversation, not from us. God is, therefore we are, therefore there's me, I am. That's how we should start. God is, therefore we are, because we are, therefore I am. So now, when I was the pastor, I made many mistakes. I used to say to the high school graduates, now that you're graduating from high school, what do you plan to do? What do you plan to do? That was a mistake. That's not a theological question. I'm a theologian. So now, I wish I had said, now that you're graduating from high school, how do you feel God is leading your life? That's a theological question. That's a different question than what do you plan to do. So, if we're thinking of our children, we want them to be this or that, so that's fine. But we're consistent, we would say to our children, now that you're ready to kind of move on with your life, how do you feel God is leading your life? Or like my grandson, one of my grandsons said to me one day, and it caught me by surprise. He said, Gong, he says, what is God teaching you at this phase of your life? He caught me by surprise. He's asking a theological question. We need to do that more often in the church. I came to seminary here in 1952, I took an Old Testament class from Dr. Ralph Knudsen, who was the New Testament professor. And the first thing he did in class was he gave us a blank map of Palestine. And he says, locate the Sea of Galilee, the Jordan River, the Dead Sea, Bethlehem, Nazareth, Jericho, and so on. And even though I grew up in the Sunday school and so on, I haven't the slightest idea where these things are. Nope. That's the first thing that he did. The second thing is that he said, I want on one page, I want you to write down what Jesus means to you. Right? What Jesus means to you. Now, both of these things are important, but like, if I had to choose, I think that what Jesus means to you probably would be my choice. I don't know, maybe your choice. Now, you know, we have University of California right next to us. You can study Christianity at the university as subject matter. You can teach New Testament and not be a Christian. Right. So we have what we call religious studies. That is, Christian faith as subject matter. Right? And the seminaries are not in the university. Right? The seminaries are like we're south of the university and Pacific School of Religion and the Roman Catholic schools and church divinities. They're on the north side. We're outside the university and sometimes we're teaching the same thing. Right? But, so what's the difference? The difference is this is subject matter that matters to us. That the tradition, the Bible, the scriptures, the faith, these things shape and mold our lives. These are the things that give us an understanding of who we are and what we ought to be doing. I'm ending now because I'm following the Salvation Army procedure. You have to hear the gospel before we can have our meal. In July of 2013, which is last year, I had a stent put in, and I've already had 2 bypasses, and the cardiologist is reluctant to admit that, but I think she's running out of things to do. So I decided that I really need to make the stent last as long as possible. My goal is to outlive my wife so that I can take care of her. That's what's motivating me. So I made an announcement that I'm going to retire from public life. That means I'm not going to preach anymore. I'm not going to go to meetings anymore. I don't want to plan anything anymore. I just want to show up like today. I just want to show up. So I do want to maintain the personal relationships. And somebody said that if you can compress, like if you and I can compress a whole life into 24 hours, my children, who are in their 50s, it's about 6 o'clock for them. For my grandchildren, it's only 5 o'clock in the morning. For me, I think it's 11:45. Maybe even 5 minutes to midnight. I don't know. That's not for me to say. So, what I'm asking God to do is this. Okay, I heard this from a student when I was here, a student from another seminary. And he came into my office one day and he said, you know, I'm taking this course and I'm supposed to talk to somebody, some old person, I guess. I'm supposed to talk to somebody once a week, all right? That's part of the course requirement. The other thing he said, and I never forgot this, he said, when we're taking this course, we're supposed to bless 3 people every day. We're supposed to bless 3 people every day. So I said, what a great way to live your life, all right? If life is for God and for other people, what a great way to live your life is to wake up in the morning and say, what 3 people can I bless today? So, what I like to do, this is my agenda now. For whatever days or months or years remain for me, I would like to bless as many people as I can. And then, I'm going to join the cloud of witnesses and the rooting section for the people who follow us and who are God's agents now to do God's work in the world. So again, I'd like to thank you all for coming to celebrate the fact that we have this, the presence of God in our lives, that we have the privilege of being partners with God in this world. Someday, First Chinese Baptist Church may not be anymore. Someday, maybe the American Baptist Seminary would be gone. Nobody will remember who you are or who I am. As the psalmist says, we're like the grass of the field, the wind passes over it, it's gone. But the mercy of the Lord, now that's everlasting. To everlasting.
Jake, you've been our friend, our colleague, our teacher and pastor. We've been benefactors of your ministry, and especially as a member of ISET, this has been your greatest gift for us, your Bay Area Chinese report. But in terms of a personal memory, I cannot forget the time when you were ready to retire, maybe it's W, you go to your office, you're ready to clean it out, and you told the board members, take any book you want from my library. And I'm a huge book lover, and you can imagine who took the most books. Thank you very much for your generosity, and thank you for your 63 years of ministry. And as a small token of being your beneficiary, we'd like to present you this small gift. Thank you. As we conclude our service of honoring James, let us stand and sing Blessed Assurance.